I used to have very unsteady hands. Preps I did back in the day looked nothing. They bear no resemblance to the ones I do now. They used to be big, rough, irregular, and I would uncontrollably hit the adjacent tooth. And most importantly, I did not know why all this was happening, and I didn't know how to fix it. I thought that the ideal preps, as we see it in textbooks, were unrealistic and that nobody could possibly do preps like that. And honestly, I had never seen anybody actually do preps like that. It was just never demoed real time in school. Everything was taught from photos, from textbooks, so how was I supposed to know any different? I went from horribly wobbly and unsteady hands to now having precise and steady hands. And not only did I pass 5 bench tests, but I've helped hundreds of dentists from all over the world prepare for bench tests for the past 9 years. It's pretty incredible if you think about it. And today I want to share my bench test story with you. I am Dr. Alyssa from International Dentist Central, your companion on your journey to becoming a U.S. licensed dentist. Before we dive in, if you are an internationally trained dentist and need to take the bench test in the future, subscribe to our channel so you stay on top of our new videos, and please give this one a thumbs up. I graduated from a dental school that had hardly any hands-on work. Lab work time was minimal, and while we were taught how to do Class 1 and Class 2 preps, they were not really graded with any seriousness. And I mean, I'd say that we had less than 10 type 1 prep sessions. I had not done a single crown prep on a real patient before finishing school. I treated, I think, 2 cavities in school, and I remember the lesion had to be Class 1, not Class 2. The school knew that we were not ready to actually treat Class 2 lesions. Lectures were all done in classroom settings, and I had never seen anybody do a good prep live. We didn't really have that video or anything like that hooked up. And assisting residents and faculty in their treatment was a huge part of our curriculum. Instead of us actually treating, we were assisting them. But honestly, I couldn't really see what they were doing that clearly. Whether their work was good or bad, I had no idea. I had no way of knowing. I was never really taught how to properly hold a handpiece either. How to give a solid finger rest. These are all foundations I was never taught. Those were, for me, just part of a textbook that nobody showed me how to do and learn. And doing preps without a solid foundation led me, obviously, to do subpar preparations, if I could even call it that. I applied for advanced standing programs for 2 cycles. During my first try, I was invited to 2 schools, one that had a bench test and one that did not. I wasn't really expecting any calls, and I had not really even seriously looked into what this whole bench test thing was about. I had no friends that went through this process, no information, no connection. After I sent in all my applications, I was just learning that this process was actually competitive. I was that clueless. In my mind, when I was applying, I thought, I'm a dentist. I'm applying to try to get back into school. What could they want from me? Isn't being a dentist good enough? When I was called to take a bench test, this was when I was learning how competitive this process was, and so I panicked. I had 3 weeks and no materials, and I had no idea how to set up a home lab, and I had no other place to practice. I had to set up a home lab if I were to practice. And I read that people would get a compressor and a turbine, and I was like, what is a compressor and what is a turbine and where do you get those things? Deep down, I knew that my hand skills were one big mess. And I knew that much because I had always struggled with lab work. Wax carving, wax up, aligning denture teeth, wire bending, nothing came easy to me. Lucky for me, I sat next to a classmate in the lab that had impeccable hand skills, and I got a lot of help all throughout dental school. So at this point, all I could think of was, What am I supposed to do now? Would they actually not take me if I couldn't do a good prep, or was this normal amongst people that were applying? I didn't know. Anyway, so when I learned that I was supposed to buy this thing called a compressor and this thing called a turbine unit, everything looked really scary to me. I ended up researching and buying a portable dental unit that I just had to plug in to an outlet and connect a handpiece to, and it would work. So I just bought one unit instead of separate compressor and turbine unit because everything was just scary. So by the time everything I ordered had arrived, I had about a week left. This unit that I bought took forever to come. I mean, back then it was like the package got lost. It was a whole big mess. Anyway, so now I had a week and I just started practicing by myself. It had been a while since I had prepped anything and nothing went well. I was scared. I was depressed. I didn't know how to improve, and that was the biggest issue for me. If I thought that I would improve during that week, I would have dove all in because, if I pass this one test, I'm done. I don't have to do this over again. But if I don't, I have to go through this entire process again next year, and that is daunting. But I was making the same mistakes over and over again, and I really didn't know what I had to do to get better. I mean, some preps would turn out a little better than the rest, but then the next one would be bad again. So overall, the improvement I was making was marginal at best, and I felt completely lost. My preps had no standard to it, if you will. Like, some were decent, some were so bad, and I couldn't predict, and I didn't even know why that was happening. And was this like this for everybody? I didn't even know that. I mean, maybe I'll pass it, maybe I'll get lucky on the test day and do a really good job. I don't know. Maybe it'll be okay. So anyway, sometimes I thought, no way, this is not going to work. There's no way I'll pass. And I practiced somewhat, but because I didn't really see reliable progress, and I knew deep down that I was not going to make big, reliable progress. I just didn't know why, but I knew it was just not going to happen. I did not give it my all, and I did not pass that test. Year 2, I took everything a lot more seriously. I've been through this before, and I decided if I don't make it this year, I was going to go back. I was not going to stay in the US. It was just not worth it anymore. If you want me to make a video for you talking about all the things I did differently for year 2, because it starts from experiences and applications and all of that, leave a comment below. I'll be happy to make that. Just let me know that that's what you want me to talk about. Anyway, for the bench test, I got to work soon after I was done applying. I knew that I had a lot of work to do, and I was really determined to make it work this time. And I came to terms with the fact that the only way out was through, and I had to face it this time. I had to overcome this challenge. It kind of hit me at a different depth. I know that this can sound really grandiose, but that is how it really felt to me at the time. It felt like everything. It felt like my life, and in a certain way it was, because if it didn't work, I was going to live in a whole different country. So it was a matter of where I was going to live and how close to family I was going to be and all of this. So this was a very big deal. And sure, I could get into a school, maybe Boston University, that didn't have a bench test, but I also knew that limiting myself to only those schools, especially when I didn't even have a green card, was a big risk. A lot of other applicants were hoping to get into a school without a bench test too, and my profile was not competitive. I didn't have the luxury of taking that chance. This time though, I had an unofficial mentor. He was a dentist with many years of experience under his belt, and he was also an advanced standing program applicant, which is why I call him an unofficial mentor. But the thing is, he was somebody that naturally had good hands, and he knew it. And when he saw me doing a preparation, he knew immediately what my issues were. My hands were not steady. I had no good finger rest. My handpiece was all over the place, hence the unreliable preparations. I could not possibly do a precise preparation without working on this part first? I mean, really, how could I get reliably good preps when I did not have complete control of my handpiece? This certainly was not what I was thinking about when I was practicing. I was looking at things like my wide and irregular crown margins, my wide isthmuses, bumpy cable surface margins and floors, and I wanted to know how to fix that. But he saw something completely different. When I learned about that, I was a little resistant at first, but something clicked deep down inside of me. And in my gut, I knew that he was onto something, even though I did not like what I heard at all. The issue was, though, I did not know how to steady my hands. Luckily, though, I had started practicing early this time, before I had been called anywhere, and so I had the time to put into this. He showed me how to properly hold a handpiece. Apparently, I wasn't even holding it the right way before. I didn't know. He showed me how to place a finger rest, an engaged finger rest. I thought I had a finger rest before. I certainly had my fourth finger sticking out from my right hand when I was working. I mean, isn't that what a finger rest is? You know, pictures show that, right? Well, it's not. Mine looked kind of correct, but it was not engaged. It was not actually acting as a rest. All of this took time to learn, and my fingers and neck and my shoulders and my whole body ached as I was practicing. I was practicing out of a home lab, so my posture and, nothing was ergonomic. It got so bad that at one point I couldn't even turn my head left and right for days. But I did not stop. Then I had it. My hands were steady. And even though I had to work on fine-tuning my technique and doing preps the way the school wanted, now I had the ability to actually do that in a reliable way, because now I was able to do with my handpiece what I wanted this to do, right? My brain to my hand, I could communicate and execute. I no longer felt like my handpiece had a life of its own, that I couldn't control anything, or that I didn't understand why nothing was working. Really was how I felt before that. I still made mistakes. Of course, it took time to get over them, but I became conscious of them. I could correct them now, and I worked hard at it, and correct them I did. I passed all but one of the bench tests that I went to on my second year. I had more interviews lined up. I didn't go to because I got accepted from the program that I wanted to go to. And I mean, honestly, this was a position I didn't see coming. I was ready to attend to any school that gave me an okay. I was going to go anywhere in the US. I just wanted one school, one program to say yes to me, and I would have been so grateful. From 2013, I've been helping dentists like you pass the bench test too. I've been in your shoes, and I've worked through the challenges, and I've helped hundreds of others do the same. And if you would let me, I would love to help you too improve your hand skills. So if you are interested in working with me, click in the link in the description below to learn more about bench test mastery. This is a course that is designed to help you ace the bench test, even if you've never done a crown prep before, if it's been 10 years since you last held a handpiece, and even if you have really horribly wobbly hands. That's exactly where I was. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Dr. Alyssa from International Dentist Central, your companion on your journey to becoming a U.S. licensed dentist. Don't forget, before you go, subscribe to our channel to stay on top of our new videos, and please give this one a nice thumbs up. I've also linked up other bench test related videos in the description below, so check them out as well. Bye for now.